We're back to discuss Sing Street, and if you saw our review, we enjoyed it. I talked about how, this is the third John Carney movie I've seen. I don't know if he has any other ones, but there was Once, and then there was Begin Again, and then this, Sing Street. And they're all sort of based around making music as part of it's sort of the means to the plot. It kind of moves things along. Once was about recording an album. Begin Again was about a producer finding a reason to play music again. The surprising thing about this movie is that it actually ends up being about the brothers. The older brother who's really sort of directing the younger brother with what to do, and the movie does it in a clever enough way that it just sort of it happens without you really realizing that that's what's happening. But there's all these clues about, Rafina at one point says, you talk about your brother a lot, or, your brother sounds really, really cool kind of thing. And there's this amazing scene where the brother just sort of blows up and, finally lets his guard down and talks about what he's really, going through and really upset about. And that to me just breaks the whole movie open. The other thing that's worth talking about on the spoiler side that I really liked was that they had that fantasy Back to the Future prom thing. There was a fantasy sequence that they put in there, and it was okay, well, this is obviously a fantasy and that's not what's really happening, and it's way higher, in production to what they would be able to pull off anyway, and that sort of thing. But then it totally earns her showing up at the actual gig when that does happen. And that also took me by surprise, was that they not only bring her character back, but they do it in such a way that it's like a permutation of the same fantasy that he had before. And that she doesn't stand up the gig. The brother stands up the gig because he just can't. He can't deal with it anymore.
I really like the fact that even though there was the boys were getting together with their band and creating the band, the whole development of it, and then each issue that they had to deal with the school kids and how they dealt with it. But most of all, the fact that one boy had a girlfriend or was liking girl, they didn't feel like they had to turn their back against him like most movies do when young boys get girlfriends. And, they may or may not spend a lot of time with their friends, but that wasn't an issue in this movie. So I kind of like that they didn't highlight that. They're all like, you're leaving us for her, and stuff like that. They were all really supportive.
Yeah, I mean, it rings true in a way because, not that I've had that exact experience, but, most of the time when you're that age and you start a band, it's to get girls, to get attention. And with her being older, it made a whole lot of sense because it wasn't the thing where, he could not have a relationship with her without the band. Mm-hmm. And the relationship that he did have with her was really a professional relationship for the most part.
Yeah.
For the first, half of the movie or so. So it really wasn't she wasn't his girlfriend really until the end of the movie.
I get that, but they weren't giving him a hard time for wanting to do all of this stuff for her. Let's write this song for her. This song is about her. Why can't we do another song that's, different? But it didn't cause any sort of conflict, at least on screen. So
yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's true.
The scene that you were talking about between the two brothers, that scene was astounding. When he broke down, I almost broke down with him. That's how great that scene was. But another thing I felt that that scene also gave the main character, he realized how much his brother meant to him at that point. And you had mentioned that Rafina had said, "Oh, you talk about your brother all the time." He kind of blew it off. He never really thought about it. He always thought about his brother as somebody who never really achieved anything. And then that scene, it just all comes together. And you realize what the entire movie's been about.
Yeah.
And it was just so magical. And if that was the only scene this movie succeeded, like, I loved it. It was great. Oh gosh. Another scene that was really powerful was them sitting on the staircase watching their mother sit on the porch in the sunlight. That kind of gave you this idea of the despair that hangs over this family. And it gives it in a form of, good Lord, don't give up on your dreams.
Yeah, and I thought that was going to lead into them writing a song, and when it didn't happen, it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's just sort of it's like this background information. Like their whole, the whole like thing of the parents was like this background issue, and they were all sort of pretending like, it was just a foregone conclusion that they're going to separate, and that, they're going to split up, and they should separate and split up because they don't like each other. But then when the reality of that happened, they were still, like, angry about it. And again, like, it still ended up being things that informed what was happening with the plot, but not part of the plot. Like, it didn't change anything as far as the story went. It was just stuff, stuff that was going on. And I felt bad for Littlefinger sleeping on the floor.
That's all I can think the entire movie is, especially during the scene where it's the fantasy sequence and everybody's dancing, and I'm just like, man, Littlefinger is getting down right now. And then you had the random Michael Jackson's bad knife fight.
Yeah.
With guest appearance, Seth Rogen looking brother.
Seth Rogen's brother.
Oh gosh.
Well, and Evan, also showed up even after that character had been killed by Rafina.
No, that's true.
We decided that Rafina killed him.
Oh.
Because she got.
Yeah.
She's like, I totally deserved it. It's like, I killed him.
I could believe that one.
There were a lot of bodies in this movie. It's just the friendship between the guy who could play all the instruments and the main character, I thought was a really great part of the show. That it didn't seem like the guy had much of a personality, but he was just so in love with the music. Like, that's what he was there for, and that's all just
that mattered to him.
It tied their relationship so perfectly.
Yeah. Well, it was like, that was his reason for being in it, and I think the rest of the band had this just sense of, we're in a band. Like, that's why we're doing it. We're in a band.
And then they chased down that guy on the bike and killed him.
Yes.
They didn't kill him. We don't know what happened, but he did get his bike back.
Yeah. This is the spoiler version.
That's all I'm saying. He got his bike back.
The edit was very, very fishy. Well, that was Sing Street. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.